Well, Tarofa, and good morning from Samoa, maybe good evening and good afternoon in the other parts of the world where you are listening from. And, I take the opportunity to thank our Ministry of Communication as well as the Commonwealth Technology Organization for having us to be part of this very important sort of webinar today. So it has been a challenge for us, especially when we had COVID, when we just started this project. So it has been 5 years until now since we started this project. But we're progressing, except for the fact that it's at a slower pace. But I think we're getting there. But let me say that this project, National Digital Identification, is quite a significant one, and it's an enabler for the economy as well as the social development of Samoa, including the government, as being the focus of this very important digital strategy. So, as we say in statistics that everyone counts. So it's important that everyone is involved in this development. So I will be very brief. I may not follow the content of the presentation, but I will just touch on the different subjects. So first of all, why did we have this national digital ID? Why is Samoa committed to have this national digital ID in the first place? Well, as you can see on the slides, that over so many years we only have the birth certificates, the passports, driver's license, some IDs with regards to where you work, and students' IDs. So all these IDs didn't capture the whole population, because specific people only travels. There's a minor population used to travel, which has the passport. In terms of birth certificate, we have had some challenges in recording this the vital statistics, or the register of births, deaths, marriage. So we have had some challenges with this register, and in most cases, people don't register. So it has been a challenge for us in capturing this identity. In terms of driver's license, not everyone drives, so not everyone has a driver's license. And likewise, the work, not everyone works, and not everyone gets to the level of education where you have been offered an ID as an identity. So all these challenges that we have, and the government has decided that maybe we should look at a national ID which covers the whole population. So in fact, there was no identifier, a single identifier which can identify everyone. And that's why with the digital transformation coming in, so it was decided that let's not just look at an identifier like a card, like a physical card, but let's look at the digital identifier. So that's where this development of a national ID came through. So the purpose of this project, the National Identity ID project, was to provide a unique legal digital identity for all residents of Samoa. And this is to strengthen accuracy and reliability of other systems, like the CRVS, as I was alluded to before, the health information system, the passports, the voter registry, and so on. There are many, many opportunities that we foresee that we can get to with this unique legal digital identity. Second one is to provide an authentication and verification. Despite the fact that we have had this done under the birth, deaths, and marriage registration, I think it was not complete in the sense that not everyone was part of this register. So, and I think that's why this project is very, very important. The third one is the integrated information. Statistics development has been a challenge for so many years because we have various data sources. And it has been a challenge because the cost of this survey operations is becoming a burden on the government. And well, in the statistics community, we were trying to look at opportunities whereby we can reduce cost at an efficient way and effective, so that we can minimize the cost to produce these statistics. Not only that, but statistics has to be timely and accurate. So we foresee the fact that with this national ID, including a business ID, we can facilitate an efficient sort of statistics production, which can enable policy development and decision making on a timely basis. So it is very, very important. This national ID is an enabler for that sort of integrated information. The last one is the fact that we will also have the opportunity to upgrade our civil registration system technology, which we are currently having some challenges in this part of the world. So national digital ID is a solution to these challenges. So as you can see that there is that sort of an exchange of a person in the office and someone who would want to have an ID. So some of the variables which will be part of this registration is displayed on the screen. So like your name, date of birth, place of birth, like your gender, addresses, and many others. But more important in Samoa's case is the fact that we have so many matai titles, and everyone wants to put the matai titles on these registrations, different registrations. So what we're looking at is to have your Christian name or your first name and your last name. So the database that will be used will be in part recorded some of these other variables which includes, but it will not be part of the national ID. So it is because of the significance of this matai titles and many other titles that people will want to have. So we're looking at having them as separate databases so that we can still keep those records in the system. Well, in terms of the next process, I think as I said in the beginning, that every person is important, and every person has to have an SDIN or the Samoa Digital Identification Number, which will be the unique identifier for every person. So as you can see in the chart, that there is a sequence of events whereby the child will be born, and then he will become an infant and a toddler, and until the child reaches 18 years old, and then up to the death. So it's very important that we have to record all this status of the process. Well, in saying that, the diagram on the screen really displays the process that we will be using. It includes the existing CRBS system, which is our our births, deaths, and marriage registration, which we're currently using. And as I alluded before, that this will be part of the refinements and improvements of the system. So looking at when the child is born, it will be recorded in the CLVS system, which will be informed by the Ministry of Health and our Ministry of Women, which would get the representatives of the villages who will be part of these informants to the CLVS. And when we completed the CLVS registration, then we will be moving to the identity system with that STIN number being recorded. And then that will be used, that STIN number will be used as an authentication and verification sort of code. Well, in part of the process, there is another database which will record a biometric system, but this will only be occurred when the person is 18 years. So it's very important that this 18 years is considered, because it is part of many other systems that we're using in Samoa. For example, under the PDM or the births, deaths, and marriage registration, you are considered as an adult when you are 18 years. Likewise, the banks only allows a person to have a bank account when that person reaches the 18 years old. So, and many other considerations that why we put the 18 years to be considered as the age where we issue this national identification. So once having this national identification be issued at 18 years, everyone, even at the when they registered under the civil registration, they will be issued an SP. So it's very important. Now we have that sort of consideration. And then those two databases you can see there, it's the identity system and the biometric system will be used as part of this authentication and verification process. So it will be at a sequence. Firstly, we can use the identity system, and secondly, we can then reach the biometric database. So, well, as you can see that in the diagram there, that death is also considered as part of this, as being included in our CRVS or the vital statistics registration. I think it is also very important that when the person passes away, it has to be recorded in the system, because that ST that everyone will be given will not be given to anyone else. So it's an ST, it's a number that will not be issued twice. There will be no duplication of this ST number. So it's very important that when the person passes away, the family or whoever will inform the office of this certification, so that we can remove it from the database. Well, as an enabler, as we have talked about these things in the minister speech, as well as the video that we have just shown, the importance of the digital transformation in the economy, the government, as well as and every other sector of the economy. So it's very important that we have that sort of strong authentication and verification in every aspect of the development, so that everyone is important. For example, while in terms of the social sector, we're looking at using this national ID as a single identifier for every databases that will be used in the government as well as the private sector. So we're looking at developing some sort of some strategies in such a way that this national ID will be part of every system in the country. For example, like the e-health, like education, the passport will be part of it, the voters registry, courts administration. I think it's very important that we integrate this STIN number as an identifier to every system, and I think that will be the part of the work in the very near future. Secondly, the economic sector, the finance sector, which has been a very strong advocate of this project. So having a bank account, it will be a requirement for everyone who comes to create a new account to have this STIN number. So instead of having free identifiers, or which are now being used by the banks, so they can only use one. So nowadays, I think they're using the your birth certificate, your National Provident Fund sort of confirmation and ID. They can also use the passport, but having this national ID will fast track all those IDs or eliminate a lot of those processes. So as well as many other processes that the government is involved, including tax management. In terms of the infrastructure sector, land registries will be very important to have that with the addresses and everything, where your properties, transport and everything, your assets. It's very important that they are connected to a person who owns it. So it's that sort of initiative that while we're looking at this national ID to be an enabler. Well, just to have a small background on the project, as you can see on the slide, that we started a few years back. So despite of being slow, but I think we're getting there. And I think it's very important that I have to acknowledge the great support from the government, the ministries, corporations, as well as our leaders in trying and make this happen. So it's up to last year, the draft bill was submitted to the Office of the Attorney General, because the fact that as we moved along with all the other activities of the project, we found out that it is very important to have a bill or have a legislation which will govern this work, because the significance of it and the importance of the information, the individual information. So it was decided that I think it's better we move on with the bill. So fortunately, in the early this year, we got the certificate from our AG's office, and I have to say that we were also very fortunate that we were very quick in the other process, including the endorsement of the cabinet, as well as our parliament. I think I have to say that we've done last week with the first reading and the second reading of this legislation. So we're looking at having this legislation passed by the parliament very soon. We're looking at August, if things fall into place. So we have a lot of other activities that we are waiting upon the passing of this legislation. So all the activities, as you can see on the screen, will all fall through when the legislation is passed by the parliament. So as a strategic person, I would, and as head of this project, I'm looking at, and I'm very an ambitious person. So I'm looking at having this national ID in place in 2025.
We will help you.
And or 2026, so early 2026. So it's that sort of thing. But it's very important that to consider that there's more work and more work that we'll be doing now and 2025. So there's a lot of activities which will cost a lot of money, but fortunately we have been informed that there is already discussions on the on some funding with the World Bank to fund this other activities that. So I think with that I complete my presentation. Hope that everyone gets the information. Thank you.
Samoa.